And thank God it's Monday, the last day of the month of June, June 30th, 2025. My name is Winifred Gbebo, your host on the program. All too soon, the month of June is running to an end, to a close, so to speak. Today being 30th of June, 2025. My name is Winifred Gbebo once again. And on today's show, we are looking at what the papers are saying, including Nigeria's most influential leadership. Let's go to leadership and review the front headline stories, the page 3, and the back page of the paper. GANDUJE Kwakwanso supporters plot next move. Of course, Friday, we were inundated with the report that the ABC national chairman, GANDUJE, has resigned from that prestigious position, citing health reasons. And on today's leadership is taking it further. Kwakwanso supporters plot next move. Although there were speculations that is because of Kwakwanso's intentions to defect to the ruling APC. And the leadership story captures that. It says GANDUJE embarrassed Kano, insists he was forced to resign. Amakura, Akume, Sani Musa, Dariye likely front runners for APC chairmanship from North Central. Party neck will decide, coming from spokesman. These are kickers to the leading story on leadership's cover today. GANDUJE Kwakwanso supporters plot next move. And the story runs on page 8 of leadership. Perhaps we should see some excerpts from that leading story. Let's go to page 8 of leadership. It says the supporters of former Kano State Governor Rabiu Musa Kwakwanso are preparing their next move following the resignation of his estranged protege and successor, Dr. Umar Abdullahi GANDUJE, as national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC. Since coming into power, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has reportedly met with Kwakwanso to discuss a possible switch from the New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, to the APC. However, pundits say Kwakwanso could not join the APC while his political rival and former ally, GANDUJE, was chairman of the party. Now that GANDUJE has vacated the APC national chairman position, Kwakwanso supporters say they are ready for the next move. Kwakwanso supporters, popularly known as Kwankwasia, claimed that GANDUJE embarrassed the people of Kano and was forced to resign. The chairman of the NPP in Kano, Hashimu Dugurawa, who spoke on behalf of Kwakwanso supporters, described GANDUJE's resignation as an embarrassment to Kano. Excerpts from today's leading story on leadership. GANDUJE Kwakwanso supporters plot next move. And the NNPP say in one of the kickers to that leading story so that it will be a relief for us if Kwakwanso joins APC. The New Nigerian People's Party, NNPP, says it will greatly relieve members if its 2023 presidential candidate, Senator Rabiu Kwakwanso, joins the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC. This is contained in a statement by the NNPP National Secretary, Mr. Ogini Olaposi, on Sunday in Lagos. Olaposi was reacting to Abdullahi GANDUJE's resignation as APC national chairman and speculations that he quit the ruling party over Kwakwanso's alleged move to join them. GANDUJE resigned from his chairmanship position of the APC on Friday, citing health issues. Olaposi stated that though the resignation was an internal affair of the APC, the party decided to react because of the issues between the party and Kwakwanso. These are excerpts to the leading story on today's leadership newspaper. GANDUJE Kwakwanso supporters plot next move. Still on leadership cover, why Tinubu is visiting St. Lucia presidency. Soldiers kill terrorist kingpin, my dada, recover weapons. The story is on page 9 of leadership. Soldiers kill terrorist kingpin, my dada, recover weapons. Dangote's 720 billion naira CNG drive to save Nigerians 1.7 trillion naira lifts 42 million MSMEs. The story runs on page 28 of leadership. NDLEA names ex-international footballer 4 others with 22.6 kg cocaine. The story continues on page 19 of leadership. Of course, the leading picture on the cover of leadership today, we have the managing director and chief executive officer of Keystone Bank Limited, Mr. Hassan Ima, group managing director / chief executive Zenith Bank, Dame Dr. Adaura Umilji, Governor of Niger State, Mohammed Umaru Bago, Chairman, Body of Bank CEOs and Group Managing Directors / CEO, United Bank for Africa UBA PLC, Olivia Alawuba, and Managing Director, Taj Bank, Mr. Hamid Joda, during the donation of relief materials by the bank CEOs to the victims of Mokwa disaster at the Niger Governor's Lodge in Abuja at the weekend. Moving towards the masthead of leadership, ahead of NEC meeting, PDP rifts over Anyanwu's return deepens. Page 9 of leadership is where you have the continuation of that story. A report has it that there were parallel NEC meetings of PDP in the southeast. On the business boss of leadership today, 149.39 trillion naira debt sustainability risks loom as state's liability surges. Experts have expressed concerns about debt sustainability and potential risk like a debt trap and sovereign default. Recent data from the Debt Management Office, DMO, show that Nigeria's total public debt stood at 149.39 trillion naira as of March 31, 2025, reflecting a sharp increase of 27.7 trillion naira or 22% compared to the 121.67 trillion recorded in the same period of 2024. The debt office attributed the hike to both increased borrowing and the impact of currency depreciation on external debts, particularly due to the naira's devaluation. These are excerpts from the cover business story on leadership today. 149.39 trillion naira debt, sustainability risk loom as state's liability surges. The story continues on page 8 of leadership. We move towards the masthead. Above the masthead, Saudi Arabia okays burial of late Dantata in Medina. Federal government says mischief makers behind SGF sack rumor. The story continues on page 23 of leadership. Mischief makers behind SGF sack rumor. From the cover, we move to our stand. Today's stand is on Hamdia Sidi Sharif, Justice Beyond Repression. Hamdia Sidi Sharif, Justice Beyond Repression. The case of Hamdia Sidi Sharif, an 18-year-old activist from Sokoto State, has become a poignant emblem of the struggle between free expression and governmental control in Nigeria. Since a viral TikTok video in November 2024 critiquing Governor Ahmad Aliu's handling of insecurity and banditry, Hamdia has endured arrest, a controversial court sentencing, and a harrowing abduction, spotlighting deep-seated issues of governance and human rights. As our story unfolds, the solidarity from individuals, civil society organizations, and international bodies contrasts sharply with the Sokoto State government's defensive stance, necessitating urgent action from federal institutions to safeguard her rights and address systemic failures. Let's go to the stand of the paper. Like I always say, our stand is the editorial of the day, and of course, it's the viewpoint of the newspaper, whichever newspaper is carrying the editorial. Of course, every paper carries editorial daily, and it's their viewpoint, it's their collective aggregate view for the day. This editorial calls upon the Nigerian Police Force, the Ministry of Justice, and the National Assembly to act decisively. The police must launch an impartial investigation into our abduction, ensuring accountability for any security agent complicity. The Ministry of Justice should review the sentence's illegality, given its potential breach of Section 39 of the Constitution. The National Assembly must convene a public hearing to probe a case alongside the state's handling of dissent and insecurity, offering a platform for transparency. These steps are essential to protect Hamdia and restore public trust, transcending political narratives. Today's view on leadership under our stand, Hamdia Sidi Sharif, Justice Beyond Repression. From our stand, we move over to the back page of the paper where we have Mode column with Dakuku Peter side. Today's column is on fear and fragility. How safe are Nigerians? That's a good question. Fear and fragility. How safe are Nigerians? Of course, to know how safe is question you'll find answers to when you read this column. But we'll take a quote from the column. But now fear has found new postcodes, new voices, and new victims. Quote from today's Monday column with the Kuku Pity side. Fear and fragility. How safe are Nigerians? Before we leave the back page, we must visit Ghana Must Go. The Edo governor says wealthy Nigerians should emulate Dangote. And Ghana Must Go also replied, he has answer for everything. Governors should emulate Lee Kuan Yew. That's a good one. Governors should emulate Lee Kuan Yew. It's on that note we conclude review of Leadership newspaper this Monday. Don't forget to log into the website of Leadership for continuation of those headline stories and inside pages at www.leadership.ng. From Leadership, we move to the next paper we have on our lineup, and that is The Punch. The Punch says Hurricane Tinubu APC launches fresh moves to pull 5 governors. Hurricane Tinubu APC launches fresh moves to pull 5 governors. Wike versus Makinde, tensions mount as PDP hosts NEC meeting today. Board summons emergency meeting ahead of disputed NEC. APC mocks PDP, says party is dead. Leading story on the cover of The Punch this Monday. Wike versus Makinde. Tensions mount as PDP hosts NEC meeting today. Board summons emergency meeting ahead of disputed NEC. APC mocks PDP, says party is dead. For continuation of these headline stories, don't forget to log in to the website of The Punch newspaper. Moving ahead, we have other papers on our lineup, and that paper, let's look at The Guardian. No, Guardian has just one story. We look at THISDAY newspaper. THISDAY says June 12, Abubakar Umar reveals names of 38 unsung military officers who backed MKO Abiola. Leading story on THISDAY newspaper. June 12, Abubakar Umar reveals names of 38 unsung military officers who backed MKO Abiola. Lists Lawal Jafaru Isa, Sambo Dasuki, Lawon Gwandabe, Isa Jibrin, Olagunshoye Oyinlola, amongst others. Fagbemi Badaru Idris lead federal government's delegation to Aminu Dantata's burial in Medina today. The story runs on page 8 of THISDAY. And we have another leading story, incidentally the last story gracing the cover of THISDAY. We have U.S. Museum returns looted artworks to Benin Kingdom. U.S. Museum returns looted artworks to Benin Kingdom. The story continues on page 41 of THISDAY. Of course, this is a response to the other Netherlands. It was reported 2 weeks ago or last week ago that Netherlands, that is Holland, returned over 118 artifacts, looted artifacts, to also the Benin Kingdom. And the U.S. Museum is also following suit, returning looted artworks to Benin Kingdom. It's on this note we conclude the review of front headline stories on THISDAY newspaper this Monday. Don't forget to log into the website of THISDAY for continuation of these headline stories, www.thisdaylive.com. From THISDAY, we move to our sister publication, and that is National Economy. National Economy is a weekly business newspaper on the stable of Leadership. Leadership's Weekly, this week's leading story says, despite NIMASA spending 45 billion naira on training, Nigerian seafarers decry discrimination, bullying on board. Despite NIMASA spending 45 billion naira on training, Nigerian seafarers decry discrimination, bullying on board. Counting economic cost of unrest in Nigeria, that is on page 10 of the paper. Counting economic cost of unrest in Nigeria. That takes us to the story above the masthead of National Economy. Nigeria tops global electricity access deficit for 3rd straight year. Nigeria tops global electricity access deficit for 3rd straight year. The story continues on page 4 of National Economy. Federal government, EU, UNICEF launched 21.7 billion naira social safety net, and it runs on page 5 of National Economy. As on that note, we bring to an end the review of front headline stories on this week's National Economy in print. But don't forget to log into the website of National Economy for news on the hour, www.nationaleconomy.com. Well, viewers, all too soon, we've come to the end of today's Inside Nigeria, brought to you on Leadership Television. Unfortunately, we don't have our guest in the studio right now. But however, we look forward to having our guest, same time, same station, for another fresh edition of the program tomorrow. My name is Unifred Webo. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have